Hey, Mike here again with Canadian Musician. Once again, nearing the end, finally, of the Canadian Music Week conference. But one last interview to do, and I'm happy it's with Darryl Ballantyne, CEO of Toronto-based lyric licensing company LyricFind. This is the whole issue of licensing and rights now is as important probably as it's ever been, but it's going through a rapid, period of transition all across the board. So I'm interested to find out more about it. But Darryl, I'm sure it's been a busy conference for you. Thanks for this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a really busy time for us, and being Toronto-based, it's the one time out of the year that everybody actually comes to us instead of having to travel. Absolutely. So it's a nice change, and being a little bit of a host to everybody coming in and showing them around the city and showing off the city is always a lot of fun. But it's a super jam-packed week and really productive.
Fantastic. So. I guess before we go into the nuts and bolts of licensing issues around lyrics, first you want to just kind of give us the Coles Notes version of what LyricFind is doing, other than to just say it's a lyric licensing company.
Sure. So we're the back end for all the lyric licensing that happens online. So pretty much wherever you see lyrics being used in a digital world is licensed through us. We have licenses from over 4,000 publishers around the world, and we aggregate all of the rights from them and track all of the different ownership splits in every country across the globe and create a database of lyrics. We literally have a team of people back at the office here sitting with headphones on, typing out lyrics and making sure that everything is accurate. And then all of that gets packaged together with the rights and the content to provide that to streaming services, websites, mobile applications, and all those different things that you see using lyrics, so that those people can come to us and do one deal, get all of the rights, all of the content, all of the rights management, and make it super easy for them to integrate lyrics into their product without having to go through all of the hassle that we did.
Are your clients solely publishers, or do you also work with individual songwriters?
We license from everybody. So primarily through publishers, but individual songwriters can come to us through various societies that we work with. If they're a member of HFA in the U.S., they can come through them, or they can come through entities like Song Trust or APRA AMCOS in Australia or CSDM in France, et cetera, and be able to get their content into our system and have it be used around the world.
Where's the biggest I guess online market for written lyrics right now? Essentially, what services, sources, companies are doing the most licensing of lyrics right now?
It depends on the territory and the scenario, but some of our larger clients are people like Amazon, Pandora, Deezer, Apple, and then lyric websites. Someone like a Metro Lyrics or Lyrics.com or Lyrics Mode are all using them, or mobile apps like Shazam and SoundHound. And those types of companies just continually use as many as they can, integrate them everywhere. Google is another one. We've licensed Google Search, so if you're typing in the lyrics and they show up there, that's a licensed, monetized result, and the songwriters are getting paid for it. So all of them are fairly significant revenue streams, and it all adds up for the songwriters.
Something like Shazam, I didn't know you could really monetize Shazam in the sense that I guess it is then paying royalties. It's not just ad revenue collecting, but very cool mobile service. It's actually paying royalties.
Right, yeah, they pay royalties to us for the use of the lyrics in there. Everyone that we license to is paying for that use. Sometimes they're offsetting that cost through advertising or subscriptions or device sales or that, but other times it's a promotional value for them to be able to attract users to the platform, and it's part of their cost basis, but we don't give it away for free, and the writers wouldn't be happy if we did. So it always needs to be a monetized service that pays royalties.
When it comes to written lyrics, what rights are we talking about? Is the reproduction right that applies?
Yeah, it's essentially a reproduction. It's not a mechanical, but it's a lyric reprint, right? We try to stay away from calling it any particular existing genre of licensing, because depending on who you ask, they'll think of it as a print right, but some people think of print rights as just actually a physical sheet of paper, which we're not doing. Or some people will think of it as a lyric streaming, but it's not necessarily streaming if it's just a static page.
Okay.
So we don't put it into one particular bucket, but what it really boils down to is our license with the publishers allows us to display lyrics on digital services, either in static or synchronized form, and search them and do other things like that.
I guess to build on that, and I'll try not to label it as anyone, right, as you're talking about, but what's the regime as far as determining rates? Is this a Copyright Board of Canada thing, or is this a privately negotiated rate that services apply?
It's all privately negotiated.
Okay.
We do have it's actually very standard. It's not even, it's an open secret.
Okay.
50% of what we bring in is paid out to the publishers. It's distributed pro rata based on usage. So if a lyric is never displayed, there's no royalties that are generated for it. But if it's displayed a lot, they'll get a significant portion. And out of our side, then we're generally almost always creating the lyric file itself, handling all of the synchronization, all of the royalty calculations and management and the technology to deliver it.
And just to back up to something you originally said, you said you guys literally have people on with headphones listening to the songs and writing out the lyrics. That must be an insane amount of work on your team's part. Like, how many, do you have even a rough estimate of how many songs you're licensing the lyrics to at any given moment?
In the database, I think right now we have about 1.4 million unique recordings with the lyrics. Not all of those are licensed, and what is available varies from territory to territory. But we've monetized the vast majority of those at some point in the life cycle.
I would have thought that the licensee, or whatever you call them, the publisher, would have had the lyrics already. Wouldn't you think?
We thought maybe that would be the case as well, but it's basically never the case.
Really?
When we did our first major lyric licensing deal, it was with EMI Publishing, and that was back in 2005. And we thought, great, they're going to send us some lyrics, and they've got 1 million songs in their catalog, and we'll get a lot of content. They sent us 8,121 lyrics, and that is 8,120 more than we've gotten from any other publisher.
Seriously? That's shocking to me. I thought that would be par for the course, that they would have the actual written lyrics to the songs that they're publishing.
Sometimes they do, but sometimes they're on a sheet of paper in a filing cabinet in somebody's garage somewhere. And a lot of the publishers ask their writers to submit the lyrics with all the song information, but they don't enforce that, so they don't actually collect it. And the other issue that comes up is often a publisher and a writer have one version of the lyrics, but when an artist records it, it changes. There'll be little nuances or little things that are different in the lyrics, and we always make sure that our lyrics match whatever the actual released recording is, because that's what the users are looking for. So even sometimes when we do get things in from people, it's not necessarily accurate, and we still need to vet it. And occasionally we get emails from writers or publishers that say, hey, the lyrics that you're posting are not the official lyrics. It's like, well, but they're what is performed, and we don't want to change them to be inaccurate.
From a licensing perspective, does that complicate things? Does the song do lyrics just need to be identifiable to a specific song in order for the rights to go to the right place? Or is there any dispute over, but these couple words are different, so, that puts the whole thing into dispute?
No, that doesn't really put it into dispute. The big question then is, if a writer or a publisher wants us to change the lyrics in our system to something that's no longer accurate, do we continue to actually display those, or do we just take them off? Because accuracy is really, really important to us. Quality is so important. When we're providing to all of these companies, they have very, very high expectations of the quality of content that we're delivering to them. And if we're knowingly putting something out that is not accurate, where do we draw the line? and where do we say, no, this is no longer meeting our quality standards. So if you want to insist on these being the official lyrics, that's fine, but we're just going to pull them.
Okay. And now just to return to the whole, I guess, royalty rates aspect of it, you said it's a 50-50 split between you and the client. If you're at liberty to say, and maybe it's another open secret, I don't know, but as far as what's the rate that the service licensing those lyrics is paying? If Amazon is licensing lyrics from you guys and that page gets viewed 1 million times, I don't know. Like this, I understand this less than I understand, say, streaming royalties, for example. How does that side of it work? What are the rates as far as what you guys are being paid?
We can't talk specifically about any individual clients. That's all confidential. But in general, I mean, it's a fraction of a cent per display. But where the rates end up is generally meaningfully more than what a publisher gets paid for a stream on Spotify, for example. Okay. So one lyric display on Metro Lyrics will pay a publisher more than a stream on the free tier of Spotify.
And what's considered a view of those lyrics? Just any visit to that page where those lyrics are displayed?
Yeah, anything that displays the lyrics. We do allow short snippets to be displayed as promotional incentive, and there's no royalty due for that, provided that it's pushing users into a royalty-generating event, being a full display or subscription to a service or those types of things. And we try to allow that as much as possible to drive traffic. But the royalty-generating event is the display of the full lyrics or the display of synchronized lyrics in a streaming service.
Interesting. And lastly here, before we wrap up, I believe you guys have a new service called, is it Lyric Merch, that you guys are launching. Could you just, I guess, first explain what that is?
Sure. So Lyric Merch which is launching this summer, is essentially allowing users to pick any line from any song and put that onto a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, a coffee mug, or a variety of other products, and do some customization of the design, mainly dealing simply with font and color attributes. For licensing purposes, we're not allowing people to put imagery next to it so that there isn't a kid's song with a picture of a line of cocaine next to it or something. That doesn't go over very well with the writers or the publishers, but allowing people to do customized merchandise, because how many different things have you thought, like, this would be great to have this individual line on a T-shirt, or you're going to a show. When I went to one of the Tragically Hip's last shows in Toronto, there was a line of people down. No, they were a few seats down from us, and they all had these homemade shirts with Hip lyrics on them that they were wearing to the show. And we're allowing people to pick whatever song is meaningful to them, and get a custom-made, on-demand printed product of a variety of different options, and have that sent directly to them so that they have their own item that is the part of the song and the line that is really meaningful to them. And, of course, paying the publishers and the writers for that, and allowing them to have what we expect will be actually a much bigger revenue stream than the lyric licensing itself, letting 1,000 flowers bloom in the merchandise area.
And just anecdotally, I remember way back in high school, a friend of mine, their family owned like a custom printing embroidery company or whatever, and we kind of did that, put lyrics and stuff on shirts that we thought would be cool. It never occurred to me that that's probably illegal.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you see a lot of it on sites like Etsy or eBay or places like that, and the publishers, when we talk to them about the merch product, they all talk about playing whack-a-mole with Etsy and other places like that, because people often don't realize, they don't understand that this is a copyrighted work. If they're just putting a line from it, they think, oh, it's great, this would be really cool, but merchandise rights are very valuable to the publishers and the writers, and often they don't necessarily want their work associated with some products or brands or various other images or that. But it's been very hard to control all of that. So in a much similar vein to how we managed to legitimize and monetize the display of lyrics online, we're looking to do that with lyric merchandise as well, and have a definitive licensed source with quality products that people can go to, where they know that they're getting good quality products, they're compensating the rights holders, and doing the exact design that they want.
You just mentioned, in terms of playing whack-a-mole, just to return online quickly, how significant of an issue is that for you on licensed websites and other services displaying lyrics? Is that a difficult and significant battle for you guys?
It's not anymore, but it was for a long time. At this point, we've essentially managed to license every meaningful lyric site that was out there, but it took some time to do. We worked a lot with the NMPA and other publishing societies around the world to do that enforcement and educate people that this is a copyrighted work and it needs to be compensated. And now there is a mechanism for them to get a license and pay the right people. And the vast majority of those sites were quite happy to license. And the only reason they hadn't was there was no easy way to do it.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense for them to do 4,000 publishing deals and try to manage all of these rights. Yeah. It would have destroyed their economics. So once there was an option there, the vast majority of them signed up fairly quickly, and we were able to get that monetized. And then there were a few that held out, and the publishers sued some of them and won large judgments against them, and which then also spurred the other ones to not try to hold out as much. But at this point, particularly in the English language world, there's still some in other languages in other areas of the world. Everything is licensed and legit.
Awesome. Well, Darryl, I'll let you get back to the last remaining hours here of the CMW conference. And but this has been fascinating and it's taught me a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers. So once again, Darryl Ballantyne, CEO of Toronto-based LyricFind. Cheers, mate.